Tales from the Spacepod is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, I suggest you turn this wacky shit right off. Otherwise, welcome to the pod.
I don't have anybody that I can think of that I can point to and say, that motherfucker ruined my life. I kind of wish I did.
Well, that's not really ruined my life, but it was, there was good plans that could have happened. It just fucking went south.
Wait, I gotta catch up here. Did somebody ruin Lyle's life?
No, not really.
We were just talking about, you ever have those days, one of those days, and he said he ran into somebody. He's like, I remember you ruined my life.
Oh, fuck.
It just got me thinking, I don't know that, I'm sure there's people out there that have had their lives ruined by one or two folks. I can't really think of anybody that's ruined my life. I can think of a few people I'm real glad to have out of my life.
Sure. Yeah.
I really cleaned house 10, 15 years ago. I weeded out all the people, for the most part, that added unnecessary stress to the Ronster's life without... I don't mind stress, and I don't mind a little bit of drama or chaos in my life, as long as the flip side of that is something
blowjobs from my male friends.
Really, really good blowjobs.
Yeah.
I can put up with a lot. Just suck my dick well.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean. It's like if there's not a, I don't know, the benefit. It's all going to sound dirty now, but the benefits of the relationship have to be worth the frustrations of it. And I did a pretty good job of weeding out all those fucks.
Yeah.
But
I still do. I'm brutal these days. It's like the old adage: you fool me once, shame on me. You fool me twice, shame on you. Third time, you can go fuck yourself.
You can legally murder them, I think is how that works.
Yeah, well, you Facebook.
Facebook murder. We had a successful art show here at the Radar Station Gallery.
Fuck, that looks so fun. I wanted to go to that one so bad.
Well, we're doing 2-month shows now, so it'll be the same show in March for the first Friday opening. But it sounds like you're more interested in attending the pie social. Am I right?
Well, I mean, free pie. I mean,
pie.
Jesus.
It's gonna be pie.
I'm getting all sweaty over here just
now,
talking
who said anything about it being
Ron?
free?
Oh.
You just canceled your trip over here, didn't you?
I'm like, bloop.
Well, about that opening in March. The idea is to actually have it be a bit of a fundraiser for the gallery. Because, a lot of this shit costs money, and some of these shows we make a pretty good chunk of change, and some of them not at all. We never lose money on them. But, sometimes, like this last show, we didn't make a ton of money, but it was a pretty good-sized crowd and a very enthusiastic crowd. It was packed later on the night, and, that doesn't always translate to sales, but we got a lot out of it, a lot of great, I would say 50% at least of the people that walked through the doors on Friday night had never been here before.
Sure.
So we're still getting a lot of new, people, as well as building up a stable of regulars. So it's been pretty exciting to see that happen. And it
looked like such a fun fucking crowd and cool art.
Yeah, it is fun talking with people, and I'm trying to do that more because in the past I think that I just kind of get overwhelmed and you're being pulled in this direction and that direction. But I'm trying to actually have real conversations instead of always looking to get away to the next escape. And it's made it a lot more meaningful for me. So it's been pretty cool. But yeah, if you guys are interested in science fiction, the Spaced show will be up through the end of March, and we are going to have another First Friday opening, first Friday of March. So if you're in the area, stop by and see us. And, did you guys watch the Super Bowl?
Yep.
No.
Didn't watch it, Lau?
I don't watch soccer.
Oh, wow.
It was a fun game at I think the first half, but it got a little dull. But
Cam Newton... just having a fucking hissy fit like a child.
Yeah, he's all the talk. Although I don't know if he's, I don't know if Twitter's lighting up with him as much as they are with this other phenomenon. Now I got to admit, I was at my brother's house and there were kids running around and we were having conversations in between the plays, so I didn't really notice it. But have you guys heard all this talk about the Woo guy?
What?
You guys don't know what I'm talking about?
No. Like Woo?
Apparently. This was driving people nuts. There's one dude that was right next to one of these mics that they used the whole game, and it was just nonstop. And we all know this guy. I mean, everyone, it's a fucking football game, so people are screaming. If you've never been to a football game, it can be louder than a rock show. It's bizarre because the noise is all coming from all around you. It's not coming from speakers. It's everybody is shouting at the top of their lungs, and it's fucking crazy. It's really exciting, actually. What people were complaining about, though, was there was this one guy above all that noise, just woo, and he would hold it as long as he could, and then it would stop for like a second. Woo, and it was the same pitch, the same tone. And it was driving people fucking crazy. It was hilarious to see Twitter lighting up with just people, started off like, oh my God, is anyone else being driven crazy by that fucking woo guy? And pretty soon woo guy became a hashtag, and it just blew the fuck up.
That's incredible. I was at a bar. I couldn't hear it that well.
Yeah.
So.
In fact, there's a couple clips that people put on YouTube, and I didn't even bother having them ready because I don't think you're going to really hear it. It's very subtle, but once you key into it,
it's there.
You can't fucking miss it. And here's a few tweets on this accidentally famous twat. Hey, CBS, can you find and destroy the wooing guy next to the microphone at the Super Bowl? Okay, thanks. Another one, starts off a little snarky, then it gets fucking hilarious. If the same dude near the mic saying woo at the same high-pitched tone doesn't shut up soon, I'm going to shoot the TV. Moving on. Suing NFL for only hearing woo, woo, woo during the whole entire Super Bowl. It gets more comical. To whomever this guy is at the Super Bowl that keeps screaming woo at the same pitch, I want to rip your vocal folds out. And my personal fave, if I had a gun with 2 bullets and was locked in a room with woo guy, Kylo Ren, and Hitler, I shoot woo guy twice.
That's amazing.
Anyway, I found a couple clips, like I said, and it's too hard to hear, but if you find the clips, you can hear it. It's one of those things, and I noticed this at the last World Cup with those horn things, and it's just like for the whole fucking thing.
Oh,
and
sure.
One person starts and it stops, and there's a million others in the stand, so it never stops, and it's all the same note. It's like a swarm of mosquitoes burrowing into your fucking brain. And I don't know why they allow this shit. You should hear the crowd sounds. That's great. You can hear booing, the occasional swear words, whistling. All that shit just kind of turns into white noise. This sounds like the end of days. Like there are giant locusts coming to tear you apart in your sleep. Yeah. It's horrible. And it ruined it for me. I had to turn the shit down and just watch it with no sound. But I wonder who this dude is, the woo guy, and if he has any idea how much everyone fucking hates him.
Oh, I'm sure he knows who he is.
Just trying to enjoy the game, man. You think he knows who he is?
Woo! No, I'm sure he knows who he is. He's probably not talking much.
Yeah, it's not something you come forward. I'm the woo guy.
You'd be surprised, dude. There's a lot of people that
That's
do.
That's true. Anything for fame.
Sure.
Speaking of TV, that latest X-Files episode is causing an awful lot of debate. Have you guys all caught up?
Yeah, you know what? I did not. Okay, I've been dying to talk to you guys about X-Files, but I know we've talked about doing like a bonus.
A sidecast, sure.
So, you know what? I didn't like that last episode.
You're one of the many.
It took your hopes and dreams of all the supernatural stuff and just like went, what?
See, I loved it. I think it harkens back to the old days of the show. So for those of you who don't care or aren't watching it, spoiler free, the first 2 episodes were pretty serious, getting back into the X-Files world. This one was really goofy and silly and over-the-top cheesy. I loved it because it harkened back to the old days of the show when they would just randomly pick a week to get silly and have fun with it.
And they did that entirely. You're absolutely... It felt like an old fucking episode of The X-Files. It was weird.
Now, where I think people are getting upset is that this is only a 6-episode season.
Yes.
So it's interesting that they just tossed in a Monster of the Week show, and now you only have 5 episodes, basically, to tell whatever... Because... Again, for those of you who don't know, the X-Files had a running narrative, but often they would just do standalone shows, Monster of the Week shows, and those were usually the most memorable, and certainly the ones that they had the most fun with.
That's been my biggest problem with that, is that in this day and age, it seems as if most successful TV shows are not self-contained episodes, meaning You know what I mean? It's not like one story. You can't hop in mid-season of The Walking Dead.
Sure.
You know what? You need to know what the fuck them shits is about. But if you watch the Next Generation Star Trek, you can hop in on any episode and just fucking enjoy the story, because start to finish. And that's how this feels. Like, and it bums me out a little bit because I want the narrative. I want that 6 episodes telling one fucking incredible story, as opposed to like, ooh, we're gonna chase Lizard Man through the forest. Hee hee.
Right, but that's part of their narrative for this arc, right? So it's like they're doing a thing. You know what I mean?
It just feels weird to me.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we'll see if Lizard Man was necessary in the total story, or if they just said, listen, we don't know if this thing's going to take off and we'll do more of these. Let's throw in a Monster of the Week. Because you know that it seems to split people down the middle. I know a lot of people love this episode, but I would wager maybe more people were irritated or a little put off by it than loved it, but I fucking loved it. I thought Lee and I both loved it. We were dying laughing.
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and the guy that played the Lizard Man, it was like a werewolf story, but a lizard. He was fucking hilarious.
Flight of the Conchords. You recognize that guy?
I really have watched Flight of the Conchords, so I did recognize
he's
him.
in What We Do in the Shadows as well. That movie.
That's in my queue too.
And he plays a werewolf.
Oh, he's fucking great. So that makes me want to check that movie out even more. But yeah, no, I totally understand it. I get it. And like I said, I think if this was a 24-episode season or season 10 out of maybe, maybe they'll go to 13 or 14 seasons or whatever. We don't know that they're going to do any more right now. So I think that they are precious episodes, and that's why a lot of people had a problem with them getting a little a little kooky with it. But I have been going through all those old episodes, and it's about every 3 or 4 episodes they throw in something that is Scooby-Doo ridiculous, and I always liked that. Even though some of them are like, this seems weird, you know what I mean? Like, this doesn't even seem to fit the world of the X-Files, but I just liked it that they had fun with that. And again, I think those episodes stand the test of time more than a lot of the narrative ones, where you reveal, the whole aliens thing and the smoking man and all that shit that goes on and on and on, that I love too. But people do remember those Monster of the Week episodes.
Sure. I think what it was, because the premise of the beginning of the show, he was like, Mulder was losing his faith. He was like, well, this is all fucked up. Everything we've been working for has already been, debunked. Blah, blah, blah. And just to have that comfort in the end that there is still, crazy shit going on.
There's still magic. There's still monsters and still mysteries.
There's still magic.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't really even think about it too closely on that end. It really did. Maybe that was their intention for the part of the narrative. It's like, things are going to get crazy and kooky. Let's show them a fucking lizard man in the forest, and then get into some serious kooky shit. Yeah, I like that idea. Well, let's get on to some news. I got tons of shit to get to tonight with my soup du jour, and I know you guys got stuff. Could be a little bit long in the tooth tonight. That's all right. First and foremost, though, I wanted to mention that Edgar Mitchell died. Now, this dude was a crucial player in a lot of what we discuss here in the Spacepod. He piloted, I should say, the Apollo 14 mission, and he was the 6th man on the moon. Now, he's in the Science Hall of Fame, and he's won multiple awards for his work, but most interesting to our world here is that he was a huge proponent of the existence of aliens and UFOs, which set him apart from many of his fellow scientists and astronauts. He was also into other paranormal shit like life beyond and fringe phenomena like psychic powers. He even founded the Institute for Noetic Sciences in '73. This is a fucking fascinating institution. It's sort of like a collective for research and learning and shared education through like peer-to-peer reviews and exams and experiments and searching for the keys to the universe to some degree. And I will definitely miss hearing him on Coast to Coast AM because you start talking about some of these things, and you'd better be well-spoken, you'd better be well-educated, completely unafraid of ridicule by peers or the public at large, and you need to be in it for the science and the knowledge, not to get laid or make money or...
get laid.
Or political points. Well, some of these new guys are. You watch some of these aliens and ghosts and Bigfoot shows, and they're all like buff and tattooed dudes that are got like Twilight hair, if I do say so, my damn self.
Fuck you.
And they're just all
at least I
like,
still got it, dick.
they try to. Hey, you haven't seen how I style my pubes, you son of.
To comb over to your head.
They're grown. They're grown up.
Working on it.
I'm training them down so I can comb them up. But so a lot of these guys are, and there's some of the dudes on Ancient Aliens are really getting douchey and just cocky, and I think some of them are in it for the chicks. Yeah, listen, I understand that there's not a lot of chicks in Alien and Bigfoot hunting, but they're in it for the wrong reason. It's a thing to get them on TV, and they go to conventions, and people want their autographs and stuff. You need to do it for the science, because this is weird, fringe stuff, and otherwise it all ends up being part of the joke. And these people that are on these shows are ultimately part of the joke, and they do more harm than good. But he fit that bill perfectly. He wasn't in it for the wrong reasons, and he was a really smart guy, and he was just, he was genuinely curious. And I don't know, I think the worst thing that you can do for yourself and I guess the environment around you is to stop being curious, like fearlessly curious, and don't take modern science as gospel per se, but as a jumping off point or a step in a never-ending ladder. Don't fall into your political thinking as the be-all, end-all. Being open-minded shouldn't just be something you do when it comes to this topic or that philosophy or this belief system. That's why I discourage atheism as much as I do parking your religion in one lane for the rest of your life, or whatever your outlook or your belief system is. It should never just be put in park. It should be a never-ending search or a quest for what you feel is right. And he was a dude that never stopped fucking searching, and I love that outlook. And it's so easy to get lost in our tiny little worlds. I mean, it's kind of funny how tiny our lives are, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it's kind of inspiring to put your place in the universe from time to time, because it shrinks your problems, right? And it shrinks the ego in a good way. I'm a strong supporter in the idea of individualism, but a side effect from that mindset can be an inflated view of your own place in the universe. And meditation, as I've mentioned earlier, has been amazing for that in my life, and keeping the grand ego, if you will, in check, and putting balance to your sense of placement. A friend of mine that actually listens to the show said that she's been dabbling in meditating since I brought it up. She texted me, and she said that it's having major impacts on her life, including looking into the heavens for the first time and actually wondering if something greater than us might be out there. Now, she didn't say God or aliens or any. She's just thinking, it's whatever. But this is a person that I know has never really entertained these kinds of thoughts, and sort of had maybe closed the door on any of that type of thought. But just the very nature of her letting go and accepting that she doesn't know all the answers, and sort of reveling in the grand fucking mystery to it all. Life is such a fucking mystery, and we think so often that we know how it's going to end, or how it ends, or what's after, or why it ever was in the first place, but we don't know. And I think fear of ridicule may be a big part of why heroes like Edgar Mitchell are key in getting us through this crazy thing we call life. I just watched the entire series of Lost, and the whole time...
finished it.
The whole time, I highly recommend it. I loved it. And I liked how it ended. The whole time, you're just like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? How does it end? And what's the meaning of this? And what does this represent? And it occurred to me when I was watching it that the reason we respond to mysteries like this is it's sort of a perfect metaphor for life itself. We should all be endlessly curious about every little fucking thing around us, but we get so bogged down with the minutia that we miss all the fascinating, amazing shit that's around us every fucking day. And I had a bit of awakening this weekend myself, where I was just kind of in a weird place with my identity. And getting past it was like, okay, I know who I am now, and I know my worth, and I was acting like a fucking baby, and I couldn't see the world around me, and being surrounded by amazing people, and knowing what I have to offer, and all that shit. And it woke me the fuck up, but I had to look at myself and see sort of an embarrassing, sad little boy acting like a fucking baby, and not appreciating him, myself. I wasn't appreciating myself, guys. But it's true. I felt stupid for being small-minded about it and petty, but it was worth it to go through that cringeworthy moment to have my own self-medicating lesson that I took away. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but people like Edgar Mitchell and other modern science philosophers, or even like my friend who's not afraid to say, I've been meditating and I'm changing my mind about some pretty major shit, that's inspiring. And I think I just wanted to encourage people to be open to all things, new and questionable sounding ideas even. Embrace them shits. After all, the only person you should be concerned with impressing is yourself. Boom.
Yeah.
You just been Dr. Ron, son.
Dr. Ron.
Anyways, there's your positive affirmation for the week, I suppose. But he will be missed. A very, very inspiring person in the Ronsters world. Go ahead, Lau.
I just can't imagine, being our age and our generation, not being able to actually go out and look at the stars and be a little bit, have a little bit of inspiration,
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. But in the same sense, I was blessed to live in the area I grew up and lived in. It's, you walk outside and you see it. If you live in an urban city, you don't see stars and the Milky Way and all that shit. It's foreign. So somebody that grew up in New York City, has lived in New York City all their lives. They've never probably ever seen, a night full of, starry skies and all that good shit. So
yeah, well, or even people that, a lot of people that see it every night take it for granted. It's one of those things where you go to visit somebody that lives on the ocean and you're just like, God, this is the most amazing fucking view. I just sit here and stare out the window and they're like, I haven't looked out that window in about 10 years. It's human nature to take for granted what's right there in front of you, but that's sort of the magic of life too, is realizing that you don't have to go off on some crazy quest on the other side of the world to see crazy new things. You just need to look at the shit that's right in front of you all the time and appreciate how amazing it is, But meditation, I swear to God, there's something about that. It's starting to have that sort of stepping outside yourself effect with me. And that's what my friend was saying she was experiencing, where you just sort of get that. It's about getting perspective. And I highly recommend people dabble in it a little bit and really give it a shot.
I always called it looking outside my own box.
Yeah, looked outside a box or two.
It takes a lot to actually look at your entire life and look outside of it, see somebody else's eyes. It's like walking a mile in somebody else's shoes.
Sure.
There's a lot of empathy that goes into it to be able to do it. But
the key is perspective, and once you get stuck in the same perspective, you don't notice it. Once you change your view, all of a sudden everything is new and fresh.
You want to talk about some fuck robots real fast?
Oh, I wish we would.
Let's turn this around.
I don't want to talk about fuck robots
When don't
fast.
we want to talk about that?
Slow it down.
I saw this great article about this Indiegogo that's been launched by a guy that makes these fuck robots, basically. But they're not really robots. They're kind of like this machine that you would hold like a steering wheel almost and fuck. So it's about the size of a bread box, and it's got like handles on the outside like a steering wheel, like hands attended to.
Apparatus.
And it's got working motors and squeezies and things and and it's supposed to. The idea is that this is going to sync up. The Indiegogo is blowing up these sound effects. The idea is you're supposed to be able to hook this up to virtual reality and play games and do VR porn and stuff. But my fucking God, the page about this and the animated GIFs that show how this works are fucking gold. So I'm going to send this over to you right now.
Is someone fucking it?
There are animated GIFs that show how you would, and we're going to get to that.
I got you animated.
Yeah,
So I take it that you've donated to the fund?
not yet. I'll tell you what.
Soon.
Can't make rent this month, but we're one step closer to a fuck bot.
Putting $10.
Put it on layaway. You know what I'm saying.
Okay, first off, the headline here. Would you fuck this video game sex machine? Why do we even ask stupid questions like that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, look down.
There's nothing we won't put our dicks in, son.
I mean, well, look at that. I don't know. That first GIF is like, I don't know if I want to fuck. That looks like my
It does look cold and strong.
Now let's go down. So go down to the next one.
You see the pad?
Programmable and adjustable soft touch gripper. Are you at that one right there?
Programmable and soft.
It's a second GIF.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Then we scroll down a little bit more, and it's getting a little bit more.
I'm kind of distracted by the horrible.
Is she blowing on it?
Woman illustration. Like, if you're going to illustrate somebody, why would you make it look like a fugly sex doll?
Yeah, and why is she trying to start a fire? It's like she's blowing on some of the stuff.
She didn't start the fire.
This is a real one-man setup, okay?
Okay, my gifts aren't auto-playing, so...
Frank's doing the best he can, okay?
Okay, is she blowing into this thing?
It's trying to... It's kind of... If we read the fucking quote, I think you'll get what the picture's
vacuum
trying to...
attachment adds suction capabilities and an easy, clean system. Oh, is that supposed to be... I don't know what the fuck the girl is supposed to illustrate. She looks like she's giving head to air.
Yeah, like it's showing the airflow of the system there, see?
Okay, gotcha.
As it goes through. And the next one's great, synchronized movement. This one really, wow.
She's twerking.
All right, yeah, she's twerking, and this thing is basically jacking off a roll of paper towels. I know. Are you supposed to stick your dick in that thing that looks like a roll of paper towels, Ice?
Yeah, you do.
The blue thing is supposed to be your dick.
I just want to tell you guys that my mom sent me a text a couple nights ago, and she was at a party. And somebody that I don't know, somebody she was talking to was telling her about how she had to write some kind of sci-fi thing, and she's like, "Oh, you should listen to my son's podcast." So,
oh no,
I can't believe. So she's gonna be this kind of stuff.
Well, does she go to church with your mom?
She did. I don't think she goes to church with my mom, but it's like,
well, welcome. Sit back and enjoy the show.
She did warn her, though. She did warn her about the language. She's like, "Oh, I don't care about that." So,
well then, welcome. We might have a new.
I just find it amusing.
She's writing about science.
Well, she's writing science fiction.
Science fiction. Oh shit, there's all sorts of inspiration for good fiction
that's
on
what
this
she told her. But I was just imagining her listening to our current conversation. And
I invite us all to enjoy imagining that.
There's just one last thing I needed to do, Ron, before we can close the book on this. There's down at the very bottom here is a YouTube video.
Okay.
Click play on that, jack the volume up, and just in your best movie theater, movie preview voice, read the subtitles that pop up. Not the one that says Indiegogo campaign live, but everything else. You'll get it. And it's fucking...
Okay, let me start it over again. I wasn't ready. Love the music. It's Blade Runner starting. Men have long dreamed of experiencing fantasies in virtual worlds. Yes. That dream has just become a reality. Introducing the world's first interactive VR adult controller. Virtual Dolls. Take your adult gaming or VR porn to the next level. Numerous innovative features create a mind-blowing experience. Programmable soft grip pressure gripper. Stroke motion with adjustable speeds. Actual footage. Pressure sensor able to sense your exact position. Allows for synchronization between controller and software. Optional vacuum attachment adds suction capability. Also serves as a cleaning pump that makes cleaning a snap. You should have said a breeze. 6 different sleeve textures made from ISO certified skin safe silicone. Each system includes Virtual Dolls controller, silicone sleeve, and starter game Arcadia. Don't you want to... Oh, wait. Virtual Dolls is more than just a lifeless adult toy. The movement you see is the movement you feel. Can be used with or without a VR device. Wow, those panties hit the ground hard. Bam. Use the free I missed that one. Girls of Arcadia starter game showcases. I get a little trailer here. Oops.
Incredible, right? Now, okay. The best part is if you just go a little bit further.
Are you gonna fuck that devil?
Scroll. There's one fucking guy behind this whole thing, and he's so red in the cheeks as he's giving the interview.
Sent out for production.
What challenge does your team face?
Right now, the game team consists of one person, myself. We need to bring somebody on board that will help create an amazing experience.
This guy's fucked this thing 1,000 times.
When will this product ship?
We hope to be able to ship within 3 months of the final day of the campaign, just in time to release the virtual reality systems.
I was rejected by NASA, and now I make fuck toys.
I know what I like.
Mother won't see this, will she?
It's
Oh,
horrible.
dear. Good stuff.
That's great.
Good job, man.
Maybe when you get
Science.
yours, Chris, he'll have a picture of him with his thumbs up saying, I approve this.
That's my endorsement.
Definitely approve of that.
I totally approve this.
We are one step closer, friends, to the end of the species. This is like natural selection at its finest. It's like this is where it's all been culminating. We say it every time we bring up fuckbots on the show. That is the end of the human race.
It's coming.
I mean, some people will have retro sex, like in Barbarella. You know, they'll do it the old-fashioned way. But anybody else got any stuff before I move on?
No, I don't think so.
I did want to share. I've got this one little story before my soup du jour, and it's a video. Let me...
Unless I can pimp my band's show.
Pimp it, bitch. Pimp it. This is coming over text, by the way, while I'm sending that pimp your show.
Friday, if you're in Seattle, my band's first show, Skull of Old Saul. We're playing at Lucky Liquor. Friday the 12th, 9 p.m. It's $5.
I can't wait to see you guys. I was telling a buddy about the story of Skull of Old Saul. I've told that a few times lately. Do you have my copy of Wasp Factory, by the way, John Mark?
I don't know. I don't think so, but if I do, it's probably in my storage in Wacky, and I have
don't
to
worry
go
about
check it.
I think I know who does have that.
Who?
Christina.
Oh, does she?
It's possible. I remember she had it for a long time.
I remember. I thought John Mark gave it back to me. I'm trying to lend it out to somebody else. It's a cheap book, though. It's like an $8. I'll get another one. So take a look at this video, and when you open it up, go ahead and skip to the minute and 20 mark. That's where I think it starts to get really interesting. You guys all got it queued up there?
Are you
Fuck are we looking
texting
at?
it, or...
It's over text, yeah.
Oh, like a pillow.
Well, these things really start to take shape about that, Mark. But what we are seeing appears to be like cloud-like blobs of white foam, and they're just sort of drifting along the ground. But look at how that one almost walks over the fence and just keeps on a-trucking.
It just looks like a fucking piece of soap foam or something. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Dude.
they're all over the place, and they're sort of rolling along the ground.
Is the great, what the fuck was his name? Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
It does look marshmallowy, yeah. Someone just shot him. But and you'd think that meteorologists would be able to pinpoint what what the fart cloud is going on here, but
isn't this right by the ocean?
No, it's in the Morocco, and it's kind of out in the desert. There's
that's weird.
A nearby river, but everyone seems to be baffled by it. They're disagreeing on what exactly is going on. Now, of course, conspiracy folks are attributing these to from chemtrail gunk to you name it, but the guys that filmed it thought that it was fallen clouds, and I think they even started shouting Allah Akbar because they thought it was some sort of miracle or something they were seeing. But the going, quote-unquote, mainstream theory here is that these came from a nearby river. But that explanation, I mean, they're basically saying that wind swept over the river and caused this foam, and now it's sweeping through. But it doesn't make much sense to me or to anyone else for that matter, because everyone's fighting over it. But now I have seen this kind of stuff, at least kind of like this, over alkaline lakes, but it just sort of floats along the shore. It doesn't go walking over fences, son, and drifting through towns and chasing your cats.
Dude, some of those fuckers are huge, and I'm not sure if that's like in the background of...
I've never seen anything like it.
But it's huge.
all over, too.
Yeah. And people are kind of freaking out about it. Anyway, it could be some very mundane explanation, but if so, again, you'd think there'd be a consensus on it. I'll post these videos online, of course, and you can decide for yourself. Our Facebook page, thespacepod.yuku.com.
Moses sent this awesome video of the Spanish ski resort with the Yeti on it. Did y'all get it?
Oh, yeah.
Heck, didn't I? Did y'all get a chance to look at the
Y'all looked that video, didn't you?
that video, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you guys all get a chance to see that video?
Yeah.
I didn't.
I didn't actually see the video. I saw the post, but I didn't see the video.
Oh, well, you should give it a look. It's actually kind of interesting. It's on Facebook. We all got tagged into it. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
You want to
I thought
describe it for
the
people that haven't
video, it's just a Yeti, typical Yeti type video. I thought
Sure. The white.
there's a snapshot of it that looks pretty clear. To me, the snapshot kind of looks fake, but I mean, like a costumey thing.
Sure.
But the video I thought looked all right. Yeah, I don't know. I got costume vibes over the whole thing.
Yeah, I kind of did too.
you never know. I mean, until we know what a Yeti really looks like up close, he could look costumey.
Sure.
But there's a local campaign to put a Yeti sculpture up on top of world-famous Mission Ridge ski hill up here in Wenatchee, Washington. And some people that I'm in the First Friday art movement here in Wenatchee are putting that together. I'm sure Paul's involved somehow. I definitely gave them his name, but
you know what has to be
cool to see Bigfoot mania sort of happening again here. Yeah, go ahead.
You know, what'd be fucking really cool is to see like a 12-foot tall fucking prop man.
Oh, see, I wanted to do something like that up there too, and you know, we got a lot of kooky legends around here.
Should we recap on that real quick, just real fast for our listeners that are not aware of it, just because they don't live in the valley or have heard anything about that? Well, it was like 1920s, plane went down, boom, fucking people.
It's World War II, and one of the old bombers left the Pangbourne Airport here, which was just a field at that point. I think there's 6 passengers on board, and it was a foggy, rainy night, and they crashed into Mission Ridge. And I don't remember. I think most of them survived. I don't remember the exact details, but there was But the story goes that the tail gunner went missing. Like he was crushed and the propeller went flying off, and it was a pretty decent accident, but they sort of soft landed on the belly and most of them survived, but they couldn't find the tail gunner anywhere. People up in the area, hunters and hikers, started hearing strange sounds, and eventually they started seeing visions of this guy in a World War II era garb with a propeller sticking out of his torso, and he was just kind of like wandering through the woods moaning and staring up at the moon. And that's basically the whole story, but the sightings have gone over to this day. There's still sightings of Prop Man. Now, interesting thing, that plane crash, the wreckage is still up there. They never really retrieved it, and they turned one of the wing into a rail that you can slide on your snowboard.
Right.
So you are sliding over, if you go skiing or snowboarding on Mission Ridge, and you slide on that wing, you were sliding on the wing of a plane that crashed in World War II and started the legend of Prop Man.
History, baby.
If you type in Prop Man, you'll likely, and do a Google image search, you'll likely see a World War II era pilot with it's like a silhouette of him against a giant blue moon. That's my illustration. I did that for the Wenatchee World when I worked with them, and they did a story on Prop Man. So a lot of people have stolen that as their Twitter avatars and used it in stories, and they don't give me or the world credit. That's the internet for you. We do the same thing with our graphics, so that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, let's scooch on. Were you done there, Lyle? I don't want to cut you off if you weren't.
No, yeah, go.
Okay. Well, I want to tell the tale, the ghastly, gruesome, I've been in this story for the last couple of days, and I just feel dark and sad inside. So it'll be good to get this off my chest. The story of H.H. Holmes. A lot of people know that name, and he's often referenced as the first American serial killer. More importantly, H.H. Holmes and his House of Horrors. Now,
did you read that book?
No.
The Devil in the White City?
No, I've watched a few documentaries and just have been doing research along the way, but I knew some of the details, but no, I haven't read any of the books.
It's fucking crazy.
It is crazy. And if you don't know the details to this fucked up story, you are in for an unsettling treat. Now, I am really just painting the broad strokes as per usual. It goes on and on and on, and there's details all along the way. This was a thorough, calculated, crafty devil of a man who just liked to fuck about with people. He loved psychologically troubling people, among many other things, as you'll see. But a lot of people are familiar with the Cliff Notes version, but we'll be getting balls deep, ladies and gents, and it's a horror story for sure. So turn the lights out, light a candle, and hear the ghastly tale of H.H. Holmes. I feel like lightning should crack as I say that. Ooh, it just did, like magic. Felt right.
Need a soundboard.
So Henry Howard Holmes was actually born Herman Webster Mudgett. Now, why would he ever change a beautiful name like that, I wonder?
Lady killer with that name.
Uh-huh.
Literally.
Old Hermie. Old Hermie Mudge over there. So in 1861, he was born in New Hampshire, and he was a pretty bright young lad, which, of course, made all the other kids at school hate him and torture him. And it's pretty well documented that he was bullied fairly regularly. But in one key particular incident, a bunch of school kids sort of grabbed him and forced him into a nearby doctor's office and made him unnaturally touch a human skull, a real human skeleton, and they like put its bony arms all over him, and stupid gross stuff that young boys would do to freak another young boy out. Trying to scare him. Now, Holmes later confessed that this actually rather excited the young lad. It did creep him out a bit, but he was fascinated, and he later, basically lied awake in bed thinking about that skeleton. Thanks a lot, Bullies, by the way.
Yeah, it's called Making a Murderer.
How many fucking people have died because of asshole kids picking on other kids? I mean, Hitler, it's been, he was probably bullied. It's certainly been well documented that he was an outcast. He was abused by his dad, and he didn't fit in at school, and his early years were awkward. He was definitely an outcast. He was ostracized in many ways. But from school shootings to suicides and revenge murders, bullying has caused some serious fucking shit. All of us pay for them shits. Anywho, he was so fascinated by that skeleton that the young Herman Mudgett began dissecting animals to get his hands on fresh and different skeletons. Now, first, dead ones, that he found on the side of the road, but eventually and almost inevitably, he was killing the little animals for his own curiosity. This interest in cadavers carried on into his early adulthood, and Herman set out for an education in the field at University of Michigan's Department of Medicine and Surgery. Now, day one at this school, the students are handling dead bodies and making incisions and learning about anatomy. It's trial by fire. These are supposed to be surgeons, so they got to learn not to be squeamish, first of all, and to understand where the arteries are, all that. So they're using actual dead bodies. They're learning about the process of decay. All of this, of course, fascinated Herman. Now, well before the killing began, even before his name was H.H. Holmes, Herman Mudgett was running cons. He was a con man. And he was a good con man. Or either that or he surrounded himself with really fucking dumb people. Probably both. A good con man would do that. Now, he would take out insurance policies on random people that may or may not have existed. Usually they existed. He would steal bodies from this school and make them look like they were the people that he took the insurance policies out that were killed in accidents, usually involving flames, so they couldn't be. Remember, this was well before DNA. This was even before they were using fingerprints. Maybe they were using dental records to identify people, but...
Yeah, they probably didn't really have much in the way of forensic sciences back then, yeah.
Yeah, all they did back then, besides describing somebody, was they would measure your head. They would measure, from your shoulder to your fingertip. They would measure your foot, and they would take note of any scars or stuff like that. They would write down a chart describing how you look. That was the system that they used. I think fingerprints came into play 10, 20 years later. This was a good time for somebody like this to exist for many reasons, as you'll soon see, and he would claim the money. Now, if you're thinking that sounds insane and like something that would surely never work, you would be wrong. He successfully did this many times, and the old insurance companies were fraught with crooked peeps looking to help out with a scam any time, any place. So all Herman had to do was split a little dough with a crooked agent to sign off on these, and he was in like Flynn. And this was a working con for a while. During this time, he married a woman and had a son with her, but he soon abandoned both of them, just kind of walked away from them. And after some odd jobs following his stint in medical school and years of traveling around the con circuit, Herman thought that he would do well to change his name to Henry Howard Holmes. And I couldn't find anything particular saying why he went with that name. Do you remember a story behind that, John Mark, from the book? Don't know where he got that name.
I don't remember why. I think that they do sort of go over that, but I think it's probably just because he didn't like Mudgett, I think he... Well,
I know why he changed his name, and at this point he had a little heat on him because while he hadn't been arrested, you can only run cons for so long before people know your face and they know your name. You leave town and start somewhere new, but I just wasn't sure why it was actually that name. He just pulled it out of his ass.
I think there's something in there, but The Devil in the White City is, while it is a historical book, it's also historical fiction slightly, right? Like he
Is that
makes
the one that's sort of based on the World Fair too?
Yeah. Because this happened at the same time as that World's Fair in Chicago. Too. Yeah, and that's why it was called the White City, because that's what they called the World's Fair fairgrounds or whatever. So
Yeah.
but I think it might mention something in there, but I don't know if that's something that the author might have embellished or if it was a real fact. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I was going to say there's a documentary too on Netflix too.
Yeah, and I recommend that. Because even though I'm getting fairly deep, there's tons of shit that I'm not covering. I've already skipped over lots of fascinating stuff, but I'm getting to the key shit eventually. But shortly after this time period, he married another woman named Myrna Belknap. However,
name.
Myrna Belknap. That's classic sounding. Now, he never...
She gave a great blowjob.
She gives good bell. Now, he never divorced his first wife, Clara. They were still married, even though they split up. But he and Myrna had a little girl, and again, H.H. sort of got bored of that and married yet again while still married to Myrna, this time to Georgian Yoke. It seems like he just kind of went back and forth from some of these women. Some he walked away from and never went back to, but he was kind of like going back and forth when he needed them, essentially, or wanted them for whatever. But none of these women knew that he had other family. Now, in 1886, Holmes moves to Chicago and started working in a drugstore that was owned by Elizabeth Holton. And when Holton's husband died, Holmes offered to buy the drugstore from Elizabeth using money that he'd been mortgaging stocks from the store. He was a clever man, that Holmes, but he never really had any money, so he's always scheming. He could put anything on credit because he knew he was never going to pay it back. You know, the banks were a little easier to get money from at this particular time. Shit was about to go south with the economy, and that was going to catch up to him eventually. But he was basically just borrowing money on what equity he was scheming to get in the first place. But this is where things start to get interesting, because Holmes now had a store, and when regular customers were coming by, they would ask, "Where's Elizabeth?" And Holmes would say, "Oh, she retired and left for California to retire with her family," and they never heard from her again. Now, Holmes used the store as collateral to fund and purchase a vacant lot across the street. And he borrowed money to build a 3-story hotel. It was a pretty massive building for the time that filled an entire block, and Holmes himself designed the entire thing with very fiendish plans in mind.
He had Scooby-Doo fucking intentions in mind.
Yeah, very Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Dower. He was building his murder castle, folks. In fact, once it was completed, it was so huge and impressive, the town dubbed it the Castle. Well, apparently Holmes hired and fired a shit ton of designers and architects because he didn't want anyone but himself knowing the exact layout of the place. Yeah, so he would hire them to build a little bit, and then, okay, you've done that wing, now I'm going to fire you and hire someone else to finish that wing. And then they were never given access to the finished part, so they'd finish it bit by bit, so nobody really knew how it was laid out.
The monster they were building.
Yeah, they probably would have had some suspicions, as you'll soon see. Anyway, he relocated the drugstore to the first floor of that building and turned the top floor into a luxurious hotel for the upper class. Now, we'll talk about that middle floor in a bit. But this whole time, Holmes' thirst for killing is in full swing, but he's smart enough to be patient and to make a plan on how to kill his victims and where to do it and when to do it. It was sort of like a Dexter, with that pre-planning and pre-kill work, because he couldn't fathom the idea of being locked away and not being able to do his deeds. It was also around this time that he met Benjamin Peitzel, a down-on-his-luck carpenter with a large family to feed and a criminal past, and Holmes thought that this was the perfect choice for a partner of sorts. Really more like an Igor assistant, if you will. Slowly, Holmes begins to let Peitzel into his world of schemery and basically trusted him to not tell anyone. Now, Peitzel had already lost several jobs over the past years, and he was a drinker, and again, he had sick children. It was the classic thing. He had a large family, and he was a desperate man. So he went along with the kooky schemes of one H.H. Holmes. So let the horrors begin. Now, the World Fair, as John Mark mentioned, was going on at this time, and there were plenty of traveling well-to-do out and about in Chicago, and Holmes catered to these people at the hotel, specifically women. He and Peitzel would go out, wrangle up a little business at the fair by luring them back to the hotel. And some of them enjoyed their stay and went about their lives with little more than having been, watched through peepholes that he hidden throughout the whole hotel. But some never made it to checkout, and he would select his victims again, after watching them in their rooms. And he would kill them in a variety of ways. He also killed some of his lovers and some of the girls that he hired to work for him. But girls, by the way, he forced to sign up for life insurance policies that he, of course, was the beneficiary of. I mean, is this fucking nuts or what? This dude was so smooth and calculated, but again, he must have surrounded himself with... He was clever enough to find the right people, the vulnerable, the desperate, or just the ignorant and young in a lot of cases. Smooth, calculated, and cocky. So people went along with the whole thing. Now, much like last week's story, it was, it was different times. You've got to keep that in mind, because a lot of this is going to seem like, why would people go along with this? Or why would they go so far without like going to the cops or looking for another job? But you couldn't afford to just stop and say, wait a minute, are my rights being violated here? That didn't certainly as a woman, that didn't happen in the 1800s. So one of his first victims was suffocated. Holmes put her in a bank vault he had installed right next to his office, and it had no air in it. He threw her in it and just left her there to die slowly. I don't know how long this one took. It took a few days, I think. She suffocated very slowly. He didn't like that, so he ended up drilling a hole into the vault, and his future vault kills, he pumped in gas, and that got the old job done a lot quicker.
Jesus.
Although he wasn't bothered by letting people suffer. Sometimes he just wanted a body to play with sooner. He didn't want to wait for it. We'll talk about that more in a minute. And then he would come back, pick the body up, and he sent it down the metal chute he had installed on all 3 floors of the building. The body would slide into the basement. Does that sound a little familiar there?
Right.
It should, because he was the inspiration for
Sweeney Todd?
Evan Peters' character on the latest American Horror Story. Actually, part of this whole story was inspired by H.H. Holmes. Very loosely anyway.
Chris has got a though. It does remind me of Sweetie Todd a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure a lot of people have been based on this guy. Some of his victims were killed right in the rooms. Now, again, using various methods. Holmes had all the hotel rooms plumbed with open and hidden gas pipes. And he would just turn the gas on, lock the doors from the outside, and the poor bastards trapped in the room would slowly asphyxiate. And he would just kind of sit there and watch them die slowly through his little peephole. He enjoyed watching them suffer. He enjoyed watching them try to open the door and scream for help, which did no good because he soundproofed the entire place with asbestos lining. He thought of everything, that crafty bitch. But many were drugged out of their rooms and then placed on the infamous middle floor. Now, this floor was a labyrinth of halls and hidden rooms and torture chambers and hallways going nowhere. He would basically kick back and watch as his victims woke up and confusingly stumbled into the hallways and tried all the doors trying to get out, and they'd become more and more panicked, and you could just see him reveling in their fear, knowing that there's no way for them to get out, and their screams again were in vain because it was soundproof. Nobody in the hotel could even hear them screaming. So they would only find all the doors locked or some open to brick walls, little stairwells that went to nowhere, like the Winchester Mansion. There was nowhere to go, so they would just basically wear themselves out, and sometimes he'd just let them starve to death. Other times he would go in and gas them, and sometimes he'd conk them on the noggin and throw them in a little cubby hole that had a panel that you put over it that hid the hole. So you could actually walk by in the hotel and you'd never know that somebody was dying slowly inside that cubby hole, just on the other side. So after he tired of watching them, he would just kill them however he felt. He also had a secret hanging room where he would sometimes hang the victims slowly, inch by inch off the ground. He had a little pulley system, and once they were still, down the chute they went. He had little rooms with barely enough space to wiggle that he would stash people in, so when they woke up, they would scream for help until eventually they starved to death or suffocated, depending on how he had the room set up. They all were basically pumped with gas. That was how he ended up killing a lot of them. Then he'd collect the bodies, and down the chute they went. This went on for a while, and things were looking pretty good for Holmes, but he had a couple things giving him grief. One was his partner, Benjamin Peitzel, was hitting the bottle a little bit more than he should have been and becoming a bit of a liability. And two, his new girlfriend was pregnant and wanted to get married. Well, his solution to the second problem was to agree to yet a fourth marriage, all while still being married to 3 other women. A playa, that Holmes. While
glutton for punishment.
with the condition, though, that he perform an abortion because he didn't want to be no daddy. And there were already kids with some of these girls running around anyway from previous boyfriends and husbands.
I don't need no other mouth to feed.
I'm H.H. Holmes, bitch. I got a hotel to run. I'm busy. Well, she agreed to that abortion and allowed Holmes to administer chloroform to begin the procedure. And unsurprisingly, he decided to abort both
the 87th trimester abortion.
both. Yeah, he aborted them both, and he just basically overdosed her with chloroform. He also killed that girlfriend's young daughter from an ex-husband that was also living at the hotel previously. And he
How is he getting away with this all?
Well, he's got a hotel, son, and a chute, and a basement, and I'm about to get into what he's doing with the bodies. He took the skeleton of that young girl, cleaned it up, had it articulated, and sold it to the medical industry. And this was how he made a little extra money whilst killing. It was a little side job. Many of his victims, most of them, if they were in good shape, however he decided to kill them, many of their skulls and bones, in some cases, entire skeletons, ended up in colleges and medical labs all over the country. And some of they could never have found them all. So some of them are still hanging in some of these colleges.
Remind me what year this takes place in?
This is all in the late 1800s. I think it's like 1886 right now, 1887.
Is it in New Orleans?
No, this is still in Chicago. This is where the mansion or the hotel he built is. He travels all over the place, and we got more locations coming up, but the bulk, the horror house itself was in Chicago. And now we should talk about the basement where he did most of his work. And he had chemical knowledge, he had tools, he'd been to medical school, so he knew how to chop up a body, he knew how to deflesh them, giving them acid baths, and he had a crematory installed to dispose of the unwanted leftovers. He even had a stretching rack down there, which was kind of puzzling, didn't really fit everything else in that room. So the dude was totally into torture, and he was into dismemberment, and he liked to fuck with his victims psychologically. By the way, interestingly, many historians believe that the stretching rack was actually invented to make people taller, to make taller soldiers back in the day. Strap your feet, strap your wrists, and pull on the wheel and give it a big twist, and you're going to feel a little pinch. But we do this 3 times a week for a year, you're going to be a foot taller, son. Well, of course, that's fucking retarded, and it didn't work. But as it turns out, being stretched kind of fucking hurts. So they decided to use it for other perps. But that's how the historians look at the invention of the rack. I find that fascinating. We're going to make our soldiers a foot taller. It's going to hurt a little, but now as for the Peitzel situation, well, the economy was in the shitter at this point, and creditors were now coming around looking for money that Holmes owed, and so Holmes fled to Texas to start over, and he had met a railroad heiress and dated her for a while, and convinced her to sign over some property out in Fort Worth, Texas. Now his plan was to begin construction on the new murder castle immediately, but he later abandoned it and kind of moved around a bit while he figured out what to do. And always a swindler, Holmes got involved with horse thievery, tomfoolery, and actually for the first time went to jail for it. Now, that did little to stop his scams because his cellmate was a train robber named Marion Hedgepeth who was doing a 25-year stint. Now, Holmes told Hedgepeth about a plan to swindle $10,000 by faking his own death, but he needed a dirty lawyer to help him do it. Hedgepeth just happened to know such a dirty lawyer, and he gave that information to Holmes, and Holmes said that he would send Hedgepeth $500 after the scheme was successful. I would have asked for more for that information out of $10,000, but whatever. I guess he's doing 25. He doesn't need much money, but. So he set up the meeting with the lawyer, and that plan never really worked out. It just kind of fizzled, just didn't go anywhere. So Holmes once again focused on Peitzel, and Peitzel agreed to fake his own death so his wife and sick children would get some money. So they set Peitzel up as an inventor, and the plan was to have him die in a lab fire, once again using another stolen cadaver. Well, Holmes instead decided to knock Peitzel out, half unconscious, because he was moving and moaning as he torched him alive.
He's like, come to the second floor. I got a place for you.
Yeah, right. And turn around and don't No matter what you hear me pulling out of my suitcase over here, just do your fake lab work over there.
Down the chute.
So he burned him alive and collected the money. Now, it wasn't as simple as that. There's a few steps, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But just to make this more evil, Holmes offered to take Alice, one of the 5 Peitzel children on the train, to go identify Peitzel's body to finalize the insurance bit. The whole while, he was telling Lady Peitzel, now, the widow Peitzel. She didn't know that, though. She was supposed to stay there with the rest of the kids because Holmes told her once they got there, positively ID'd the body, that he needed the girl to basically lie. That was the plan as far as Lady Peitzel knew. But Holmes knew that it was actually Peitzel's body they were going to go see, and he didn't give a shit if the girl saw her dead, burnt dad because she wasn't going to be a problem for much longer, as you'll soon see. But the whole time, it's key to understand that Lady Peitzel thought that her husband was alive and in hiding and waiting for this thing to blow over so he can get the money. They go positively ID the body, and the insurance begins their proper investigation for the insurance claim. At this point, Holmes sets the girl up in a hotel, and he goes back to Lady Peitzel. Now, this is a little convoluted, and I'll try to encapsulate it best I can, but Holmes says he left Alice with her dad and that they are in hiding until the scam, is all paid out and it all blows over. So he says that he needs to take 2 of the other 5 kids back with him. His reasoning was that the insurance company was now investigating Peitzel's death for the payout, and they didn't want to draw attention as they are moving across the country to prepare for hiding with their new money. A single woman with 5 kids was kind of a dead giveaway at the time on a train if shit got weird and people suspected
wouldn't it be
something.
Collateral too?
Oh yeah, well, he was using them as pawns. And remember, this guy just liked to fuck with people. So he was probably just having a grand old time with all of this. Whatever happens, this is fun, So she agrees, and the 2 other kids hop on a train with Holmes, while Lady Peitzel takes the remaining 2 kids on another train on a later date, heading in the same direction. They're all supposed to rendezvous. Well, the whole time, Alice is writing her mom, asking what's going on back home and how long she'd be stuck in hotel to hotel, because Holmes keeps picking her up, moving to a different city, to a different town, working another comm. The whole time, he's bullshitting Lady Peitzel about her husband being alive, and he's just trying to let the insurance thing wind up. So he's basically just doing a song and dance to keep the Lady Peitzel occupied, and the whole time she has no idea where the 3 kids are. In some cases, they were literally staying in hotels across the street, but Holmes, being the ultimate manipulator, kept them apart, and they had no idea. Pretty fucked up. I know this part's a little confusing, but Holmes eventually just killed the 3 kids. He stripped them nude, buried them in a cellar in a couple of different locations, because the insurance thing was wrapping up, and it was making news, and he was getting a little heat, and he was just done with it. And now about this time, Marion Hedgepath, remember the guy in jail who was owed $500? He had seen Peitzel's death story in the paper, and he realized that that was his partner and that something had gone wrong, and he wasn't getting his $500. So he was like, well, fuck it, I'm going to snitch on him. He snitched on Holmes, and this led to the hiring of the notorious Pinkerton detectives. And now the insurance company was probably funding this. Now, the Pinkertons were a national team of investigators that usually got their man, and they did so in this case as well. They actually caught him in Boston by following his paper trail and all his snaking around the country, and the Pinkertons done it again. Well, he was charged with frauding the insurance company. Now, right now, nobody knew that Peitzel had been murdered. They knew he was dead, but now the question was, where were the other kids? And through reverse engineering out of the letters that Alice was writing her mother, which Holmes never sent, by the way. I mean, it wouldn't have done any good. Her mother wasn't there. He was pulling her across the country, slightly behind the other 2 kids. But they were able to follow her stationary path from town to town, hotel to hotel, and that led them to the charred remains of the little boy that was found in a stove in Minneapolis, and the 2 girls were found buried in the dirt of a cellar in Toronto. The cops basically break down the doors to the murder castle, and for the first time, they are getting their glimpse of the true evils of one H.H. Holmes. I mean, they find the maze, the torture devices, bodies still rotting, bones being cleaned in acid baths, the dissection table, bloodied women's underwear. Like, nothing like this had ever been seen before, and the case is instantly bigger than Jack the Ripper, which, by the way, was going on about this same time.
Well, he was pretty reputable in the society, right? I mean, he like would go to the galas and shit like that. He was pretty known in the city as being an all right guy. And
yeah, well, he was a businessman.
Sure.
He didn't have money, but that didn't stop him from building he had 3 businesses at this point just in Chicago. So yeah, being the ultimate con man, he was accepted by the other hoity-toities. Very successful con man. Now, 50 missing people were traced from the World Fair to the hotel, but ultimately they only had proof of around 10 killings. But it's thought that he may have killed up to 200 people.
Jesus Christ.
With his knowledge and how busy he was, how active he was, but with his knowledge in selling the skeletons back to the schools, there was no real way of tracking those down. There wasn't a paper trail. There was for a few of them, and they got them back, but they got, I think, the little girl back. But for the most part, this was a strange business where it's fascinating to think about that some colleges, especially older colleges, right now, universities, probably have a murder victim hanging somewhere on display in their halls. Interesting thought, huh?
God. Wow.
In the trial, as the widow Peitzel finally learned the true fate of her family in detail, her outburst was reportedly so emotional that everyone in the courtroom was weeping, even the judge. And the trial in and of itself is a whole separate story, but fast forward, he was found guilty and sentenced to hang. Now, once he finally realized that he had nothing to lose, he started confessing. And William Randolph Hearst, who I talked about, of course, on the Great Moon Hoax episode, offered Holmes a tidy sum to spill the beans exclusively for one of his newspapers. And it's pretty troubling. Here's a clip in his own words. Of course, it's being narrated by some actor from this documentary that I think it's just called H.H. Holmes,
yeah,
which I recommend watching this documentary. Where I got most of this information from, but give this a listen.
She was very willing to do this and prepared to leave the vault upon completing the letter, only to learn that the door would never again be opened until she had ceased to suffer the tortures of a slow and lingering death. The partial excavation in the walls of this room found by the police was caused by Latimer's endeavoring to escape by tearing away the solid brick and mortar with his unaided fingers. I closed the door and turned on both the oil and steam to their full extent. In a short time, not even the bones of my victim remained. It was the footprint of Nanny Williams that was found upon the painted surface of the vault door, made during her violent struggles before death. Only one difficulty presented itself. It was necessary for me to kill him in such a manner that no struggle or movement of his body should occur.
Talking about Peitzel, of course.
I overcame this difficulty by first binding him hand and foot, and having done this, I proceeded to burn him alive by saturating his clothing and his face with benzene and igniting it with a match.
Just a few of his many admissions. Now, a lot of experts think that he exaggerated some of these stories and flat out made up some other ones because he was a guy who liked the attention. But most of these stories seem to check out. And, they had missing people, and he seemed to be able to account for a lot of them. So once the fame got out about this story, people wanted to go see the fucking House of Horrors. So someone actually bought it and was going to turn it into a tourist attraction, which, holy shit, can you imagine walking through that? Like, it would be insane to see the actual rooms. I mean, he walked away with everything as is.
Sure.
Like, there were bodies still in there, and before... it's fucking insane. That'd be creepy shit.
Well, there's one part of the story that I do remember, that there was an underground tunnel that went across the street, and it was one of his torture chambers. Mm-hmm. And there is a club that is there today, and it's like an S&M club. And it has a lot of the barbs and the chains to the walls and shit, but you can't take cameras into the place.
That's supposedly like his actual torture room.
Yes. Yeah. No, there's a tunnel that goes underneath and across the street. I think. I'm pretty.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there's it's a straight up S&M club.
That's fucked up.
Can't take cameras down there, but they still have like the shackles and shit on the walls.
Huh.
It's just creepy as fuck.
I'll have to look into that. That is creepy.
Yeah.
But sadly, before anyone could do that, somebody torched the whole place down to the ground. But man, what a fucking fascinating thing it would be to have that place still open, just as it was. A complete look into the mind of somebody. This dude was fucked in the head. And I couldn't believe it as I'd heard like the broad strokes of the story, but couldn't believe it when I got into it. But anywho, there you have it. The ghastly tale of H.H. Oh, one last thing. Right before he was hung, he apparently recanted all of his confessions and said, no, I never actually murdered anyone. And then snap. That's all, folks. Intriguing last words, huh? It's like, well, wait a minute, what? And then now he's dead, so whatever that meant. Very interesting. Because why would you lie, you know? It's like, why would your last words be...
Do you think he was bargaining? Like he came to this point where he's like, holy shit, I'm really going to die.
It could be. That could have been all there was to it.
He was just a psychopath, and he was just fucking with people.
Just probably one last psychological fuck with. Yeah, that's probably more like it. Well, let's get on to some news quiz. Let's wash that darkness away. Huh?
With more darkness. From Florida, even.
Oh, good stuff.
I put up a little thing on the Facebook today to see if any Spacepod listeners wanted to play at home along with the show.
And you got no response.
Zero. No,
really?
Actually, I got some. We got
quite a few.
Pretty good response. I think at about 15 people wanted to do it. I got it out to about 15 people. Nice. And it was pretty good. It was fun. So if you'd like to be a part of that, just find us on Facebook. Tales from the Spacepod. You just search for it. And
so how does
we'll be
this
doing
work?
More of that. It was, so I emailed them all out a link to a quiz, like a little, basically I just put all the quiz questions into on one of those, fuck.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot there, but...
God damn it, the technical side is so hard. Like a quiz creator, excuse me.
Okay.
And so you have a certain amount of time to answer. So I'm going to tell you right now, the top three were Katie Sergey, Michael Bates, and Moses Hernandez.
Okay.
Quickest on the draw with the right answer. So you guys want to give it a shot here?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, the order you're playing tonight is Lyle will go first, Ron will go second, and John Mark will go third.
All right.
All right, let's start things off with Florida David Dubs.
Ding, 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 ding.
Nailed it. Felt good about that.
In West Palm Beach, a 17-year-old thief approached a 26-year-old mother and her 2-year-old son and attempted to steal her purse. Now, the young mother did not give up without a fight, and it wasn't until the thief did this that he was able to pry the purse from her hands and run. What did he do? Was it A, sprayed the mother with pepper spray?
Yeah. Take that.
Fine. You want this to get ugly? B, set fire to the bus station they were both waiting at.
You don't hear enough criminals using pepper spray. I like that. A little twist. Who says it's
Or
for
C.
goodies? No.
Or flamethrowers. So, yeah.
True that.
Or C, punch the baby in the face.
Oh, shit.
Florida, huh?
Lily pad. Now remember, this is worth 2 points. This is worth 2 points.
It's serious shit.
Lily pad.
What you gonna do? I just don't see starting a fire, unless that's your thing. But
You know what I do see? Punching a baby in the face.
Oh, yeah. Lyle always sees punching a baby.
2-year-old in the face. No, I'm gonna go with punching the 2-year-old in the face.
Are you gonna go with the 2-year-old?
It's Florida, dude. Come on.
That's fair.
People.
Yeah.
Roster.
When I go Florida, I go big. I go punching babies in the face big.
All right, fair enough. John Mark.
I got to go baby puncher.
It's a fucking family game with the baby punch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Question 2. A 50-year-old.
I hope we're right.
It's gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
Question 2. A 58-year-old man in Detroit was killed when his car rolled over and he was thrown through the sunroof of it, all because he was doing this with his cell phone. Was it A, watching porn and jerking off? Is it B, sending dick pics to up to 5 different women he had met on Tinder? Or C,
Tinder's gross.
and remember, it is gross. And remember the news rule to the news quiz here, the Kanye rule. Is it C, he was watching Kanye West's entire collection of music videos on repeat?
Oh, boy, that's a good Kanye West switcheroo.
It's a gamble. You can lose a point.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to let you finish, but
You know, it was only funny the first time.
No, it'll be funny 6 times from now. Twice, not funny. 3 times, 4, getting there. 6 times, funny again.
That's coming around again.
9/11. When's the last time? Tune in next week. It'll be 9/11 was funny. It'll be funny at the 3,000.
you guys going to let me finish. There we go. That's I'm going to go with the jerk into the porn.
Tried and true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tried and
Be
true.
glad it wasn't T-tops. Yeah.
Less of a risk, for sure.
Monster?
Boy, I was leaning toward the porn, but I'm feeling a little saucy. Who am I playing for?
Yourself.
Oh well, fuck it then. I'm gonna go Kanye West, Cracker.
Gangsta.
Holy shit. All right.
Now I don't.
Jump mark?
Yeah, but did you do? Was Kanye West the answer last time?
No, it wasn't.
No.
Okay, I feel better about it then. I feel better.
Lyle.
I'll go with A, I guess.
You're going with the tried and true as well. I like that. Okay. Little fashion there.
The old fashioned.
The old-fashioned.
News quiz old fashioned.
Classic.
This arcade game, question 3. This arcade game is about to get the Hollywood treatment, and none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is slated to star in it. What game are we talking about here? Is it A?
Is he just going to be in all the remakes? Is that?
I think so.
Yeah.
But check this shit out. I'm eager to know. You guys should know all these games. I know you.
Right.
Hopefully. Is it A? Operation Wolf.
The old shoot 'em up, yeah.
Yeah.
That was just kind of like you threw grenades and you had a little target and you shot people. Is that the right one?
It was like, they had a story, though. Do you remember? It was like a prisoner of war story, and then you Rambo'd the fuck out of there.
And sometimes you could shoot the POWs if you weren't careful.
Yeah, there was chickens you could shoot.
Yeah, boy.
B, Rampage.
Now there's a story with a video game.
Fucking Mars.
Rampage. The Rock plays the dinosaur. What was it, like a Godzilla or something?
And it smells what the giant rock is cooking.
That was basically Godzilla smashing. That's a fun game. I've got that on the Crackman machine.
That is a fun game.
Or is it C, Space Invaders?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I could see a Space Invaders game, which has nothing to do with Space Invaders. It's just the name.
Sure.
That one rings the most Hollywood true to the Ronster.
Lyle?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm swayed to A, just because.
So you're going with C.
Going to Operation Operation Wolf. Okay. Ronster.
Yeah, I'm going to go with C, Space Invaders. That totally sounds like a Hollywood movie waiting to happen. That's like the most one-note video game of all time. But everyone knows that fucking game.
Yeah.
And, at the time, Space Invaders was some technologically advanced shit. There were like 10 different types of aliens. And you had shields and missiles.
Dude,
go invisible.
You actually had to use the joystick, I think, besides the pong paddle.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it was the deal.
Yep.
John Monrock?
I'm going to go with Space Invaders as well.
So 2 great names together, Space Invaders. I think that's probably why the game was so popular. I mean, it was an early game, so we would have been happy with just about anything, but Space Invaders, such a great fucking title.
Yeah.
Can I take my answer back? I want to go with C, too. I'll stick with A. Damn it. Damn it.
All right. Can't wait to go over the answers on that, I gotta be honest. Question 4, last question of the night. And thanks to Moses Hernandez for sending this one. Also, in unrelated news, fuck you, Moses Hernandez, for tagging me in aquatic posts.
He tags me all the time. He tags me all the time, too, but I always laugh when it's just Sharky. And although that creature that he posted today, I've seen that video a few times. I don't know what that is. It's like some sort of sea... It's one of those... I don't know what the fuck that is. John Mark, did you see that thing? It's just like a whole bunch of tentacles.
Which one he has to ask? Fuck you, bro.
I don't even know what to call it. It's like something...
that thing. Yeah, I did see that weird thing.
Enemy?
Yeah.
Enemy?
See an enemy or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's
Looks like a
beautiful
bunch
to
of
watch.
ribbons.
It looks like a whole
flowing
bunch of
around.
octopus tentacles swirling around, but they're all just like part of, like a piece of arugula or something. Anyway. Oh, by the way, Moses has a piece hanging in the radar station right now. It's one of the most popular pieces in there right now. It's a beautiful little piece called Dogmonaut, and it's a dog piloting a little spacecraft, chasing a bone.
It's my favorite.
It's great.
Out of the whole show is actually my favorite.
Really, really popular, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. I didn't know that. All right. Well, thanks, Moses, for sending this in, Dick. This is a weed threed question. We're 3 points.
A weed threed?
Question.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
This is something I did once before. I'm bringing it back, bitch. Rank tag, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
I had so many people texting me orangutan throughout the day on the podcast post.
I hope it supplied some laughs. I always, Effie always sends me the first feedback of the show because she's up early. She has one of those weird night jobs, and she goes, "Wow, you got really stoned." And I was like, "Oh no!"
You're like, oh god, that was a good episode.
All right, question 4. Experts believe that this cannabis product may be the next big thing. What are we talking about here? Is it A, cannabis-infused dental floss?
Because why not?
Oh yeah, why not indeed?
Is it B, cannabis-infused...
It's better than radium.
What?
Cannabis-infused tampons.
Sure.
Oh, twat pot.
Hemp bread, right? It's like pliable. Sure.
You know there's some ladies out there that would invest in twat pot.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, key framed right there.
Tampots, I guess, is a better name. Tampots.
Yep. Copyright's all for Ron Evans.
Or C, cannabis-infused contact lenses.
Ooh.
Right to the eye, huh?
Lily pad. Start us
Oh,
off.
God, we got too much time on our fucking hands. Shouldn't we be doing stuff? But putting stuff into shit and acting like it's a new invention. Like, this is what happened when it was, what was the flavor? Cookie dough. Remember when cookie dough was, like, you could literally get cookie dough dental floss. I remember going to the dentist and they say, what flavor paste would you like when we're cleaning? Cinnamon. Okay, that computes. Mint, that checks out. Or cookie dough. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? That would be disgusting. Give me cookie dough. But it was like, everything was cookie dough flavored. And we act like these are new inventions. I went through a phase where I wanted everything to be ranch flavored. I guess that's it. But let's fucking do something with our technology and our time, for fuck's sake. God, Archie McPhee generation just makes the stupidest shit. It was bacon a while back. You know, everything. We had to have bacon gum, bacon candy bars, bacon dental floss, bacon everything.
Why you got to knock on the bacon, dude? Sorry.
I guess I'm just tired. The litter on the side of the road, and
Sure.
I'm sensitive.
An Indian with a tear in his eye looking at the trash on the side of the road. I know. I get it.
I do sometimes get annoyed that we live in a time. Like, I'm equally in love with the time that I live in right now and frustrated. You guys probably feel what I'm stepping in, right?
You know what got me?
It's equally
I'll tell you
annoying but beautiful at the same time. Go ahead, Lau.
I'll tell you what got me. It was about 6 months ago. I went to McDonald's, right? And I really hate fucking going there, but I went there because I was hungry. And they gave me a soda, and it was in a styrofoam cup. And I'm like, did we fucking get rid of this shit in the 80s? I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
that would surprise me too.
It blew my mind. I think they're out of stock. Who knows? But, yeah.
Have I told you guys that since my accident, I now crave McDonald's and I haven't before?
That's weird.
That's one psychological change, personality change.
Just one. Anyway. The other one was Dick.
Oh, there's been plenty. And Dick is one. Let's get on to the answers.
Wait,
we got this.
No.
You guys,
okay. Oh, okay. Pro fucking hemp all the way. I mean, you could do anything and everything with it.
Sure.
I wish the fields that we live in were grown around it. I mean, just harvest it, make houses out of it, do it. It's cheaper than fucking cutting down forests.
Sure.
I'm going with the tampons.
Okay.
All right.
With conviction.
You know, because hemp, it's clothing. You could do it. Sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely stronger than steel as well.
Well, now, boy, it's we'll talk about this, I guess, when we find out the answer. But
although
is it hemp? It's pot. It's not hemp. It's pot.
No, these are cannabis-infused products.
Yeah. So this isn't, macrame.
This isn't hemp.
Twisted into corn on the cob shaped.
Lau, do you want to try again, or do you like that answer still?
I'm not sure if I like that answer. What was the... Okay, it's been...
Dental floss.
So it was dental floss, tampons, or contact lenses.
Going with tampons. No, I'm I go dental floss because. Once, well, you know what? No, fuck that. I'm going with the tampons.
Are you sure?
Well, see, now I'm wondering what would get you higher, because this is obviously about getting high.
Well,
it seems like putting.
I'm not a female, but I know it's a shitty time of the month, and I have a little bit of empathy. I feel bad.
Well,
And
pot
that's
is
the thing that cures cramps and
it's a pain relief.
Shitty things. So you know what? Have a good time being shitty.
Yeah, that's not a bad.
Cheers.
Not a bad point.
You should
Boy, I'm gonna just change my mind. Pot is a natural pain reliever. Oh, fuck it, I'm changing my answer. I was going to go with eyes because I thought that might be the quickest way to get high, and I think that ultimately that's all cannabis-infused products are about. But I'm going to go with, I bet that's how they pitch it. I bet that's how they pitch pot-infused tampons.
Right.
Pain relief, down there.
John Miggity Mark?
Yeah, I'm going. That's my answer, too.
Fucking A, guys. All right, let's go over the answer, see how you did here. Florida Daily Double here. In West Palm Beach, a 17-year-old thief approached a 26-year-old mother and her 2-year-old son and attempted to steal her purse. Mom held on for dear life, and it wasn't until the thief turned to the son and punched him in the face, the baby.
Shit, yeah, son.
Like, oh, fuck.
Punch that baby. You're a fucking criminal. You're already a cunt. What do you got to lose?
No.
Thanks,
Y'all
Florida.
got 2 points apiece for that. Boom, boom, boom.
I feel so proud of those 2 points.
Yeah.
We accepted Florida. Yeah.
Question 2. A 58-year-old man in Detroit was killed when his car rolled over and he was thrown through the sunroof of it, all because he was watching porn and jerking off.
Oh,
Yeah,
the old classic.
The classic.
Ding, 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 ding.
So Lyle
got
gets a
too
point.
cute with that.
John Mark gets a point, but Ron
No, got too cute.
loses a point. Kanye.
I lose a motherfucking point. I lost my daily dubs.
Harsh.
Well, one of these
question
days
3.
it's going to be a fucking Kanye. You know, this is going to be the next cube, and I'm just going to choose Kanye every fucking time. And it's going to be a cubes of nature type situation, and you're purposely never going to find a Kanye story. Fuck you, and you're laughing.
I have a QB Kanye story. Like, oh my god. Okay, question 3. This arcade game is about to get the Hollywood treatment, and none other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is slated to star in it. We were talking about Rampage, bitch. No fucking joke.
What's it going to be? The lizard or
So-
the fucking... The
I have no idea. They
So the
didn't give
video
much-
game's getting remade. It's not being made into a movie.
It's being made into a movie, bitch.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
coming to a
I
theater.
understood it right.
So
So
he's like
he's
a
going to
kill
be,
monsters.
I guess, the chief of police or the dinosaur expert or the
he's gonna be the guy who
environmentalist
runs
that
around
warned us
saving
all
people
about
from
toxic.
the giant monsters.
How did the dinosaur, whatever the fuck it is in Rampage? I mean, it's obviously got Godzilla.
There's like a King Kong dinosaur, and there's a lizard, and there's something else, isn't there? Like there's 3. It's the fun of it. You can play with 2 or more players.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a takeoff the classic Toho kaiju films.
Okay,
But
was
what
the
is
third
Rock
one?
going
Was
to
it
be?
King Kong, a Godzilla, and what was the third one?
I don't know
I
for the
fucking
third
know,
one.
but I gotta know now. Hold on.
Yeah,
Ryan.
let's look this shit up. Some things just can't wait. I like how we won't look up important facts to the major topics we're talking about, but we have to know what was it. Are you sure there was 3?
It's a giant ass. Well, the one I'm looking at is 4. It's like a werewolf guy.
Oh, that's right. It was a big werewolf.
It was a
And
werewolf.
then
I can totally
there's
picture
also one of a rat. I don't know if that's.
Oh, you're right.
I don't know if that was a. It was the Lynx version though, the Atari Lynx.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the.
Well, I think there are sequels too. Maybe the first one just had 1 or 2 creatures.
It was 3. It was wolf, lizard,
Yeah.
monkey. So good.
So,
okay.
is there a backstory to this? Do we know
Not
how
yet.
those giant creatures? Okay, so that's the fun
They
that they're
have
going to
not.
have with it. But the Rock
Giant
won't.
creatures attack city. That's
The Rock
the story.
probably
Well, no,
won't be
because
a giant monkey.
It was. I mean, they were like lab created, scientists.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, they will make
I
this
gathered from the
into
8-bit story.
a morality, environmental, or don't fuck with science you don't understand, or pollution. They will make it into something preachy, I guarantee you. But I feel like The Rock will be an expert in whatever. He'll be a scientist or a paleontologist. It's like, one of these days, those giant lizards and monkeys and wolf men, they're going to return and smash our cities. The funnest part about that game was that you could reach in and grab the people and eat them.
The hot chicks, yeah.
And they'd
to
fall.
replenish your health.
I think
It
on the
never
later
seemed
ones
like
you
it
could
would
catch
give
them
you
as
as
they're
much
falling.
health as you think that you should get from it, though.
Yeah,
So
you
it's a
just
little
ate a
tease.
soul. Bitch,
Fuck, I
fill
remember
my fucking
leaving-
hit points.
Motherfucker, I remember leaving my NES on for hours, for days, days, as me and friends would because you would go over the whole United States, basically.
Yeah.
You would stop in every city and destroy it. Oh, so
What a fucking game.
There's no saves.
So
There's no saves in the game.
yeah, there was no saves.
Yeah,
in that
before
shit.
saves, you had to leave them shits on. I remember, Chris, we talked about leaving the Super Ghost and Goblins
Ghosts and
on
Goblins,
because it didn't
yeah.
have a.
I did that too.
Yeah, you couldn't continue if you shut it down. Endless continues if you played it, but oh man, those Ghosts and Goblins games
That's
are
a tough
fucking
game.
hard.
Yeah. All right, question for.
Did you, by the way, did you beat it? Did you actually beat Super Ghost?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, I did
I've
in
never
college.
seen the end of that game.
Wasn't getting laid.
It's a hard fucking game. It's hard to make it. I played the first level the other day, and I was like, how the fuck did I get so far in this game? It's hard.
It's rote memory getting through those levels.
Yeah, that's
all
exactly
we
it.
had.
It's one of those. That's true. That is true. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have girlfriends, I guess. Although girlfriends would come over and play video games back in the day. That's how what a lot of my girlfriends did. They'd come over. I'd say, "You want to come over and play Nintendo?"
Okay, you know why they don't come over and do that
Nintendo
anymore?
and chill.
Why don't they do that anymore, Chris?
You don't fucking play video games anymore, bitch.
I don't play video games.
Anyway,
I got a
busy
titty game.
fucking creating
doing
art
stuff.
and shit.
Yeah, doing real life.
I got a
And who the
titty.
fuck has a crack man in the house anyway?
Well, I play the Crackman all the time. I actually do play video games all the time, but it's Frogger, Galaga, the Crackman.
I've seen the bitches. I've seen the bitches overplaying that. I don't know.
That titty
Watching
game
that.
that I got on right now is sort of like a cross between Connect 4 and Tetris, and it shows you it was made in the 90s, and it shows you titty game. Yeah, haven't you ever seen these old titty bar games? Like in some bars, they would just have little titty games in the corner, and you just keep putting quarter and quarter and quarter in because you wanted to see the next tits. And they're horrible, 8-bit tits of unattractive girls in unsexy poses. But I remember putting a lot of quarters in the one that I found in Seattle when I was over there. It was like, oh my god, there's tits in video games. It was a magic time. Now it's fucking hilarious.
Pre-internet, man. That's
You kids today, you don't understand, man.
Now you put a quarter in a machine, you fuck it, and you put goggles on.
Well, I'll say this: the as shitty as those 8-bit, as shitty as the 8-bit titty is, it was way better than scrambled porn, and we would watch scrambled porn for 3 hours.
That's true.
I would record that shit and pause it frame by frame.
That's only funny because
That's incredible.
Just couldn't see them shits back then, man.
All right, so
bunch of snow on the TV. Nothing.
Wow, I really got into this conversation.
What?
All right, that's fair.
last
Where are we
question
at?
here. Let's see. This cannabis related product is going to be the next big thing they're suggesting. We were indeed talking about cannabis infused tampons. You're all fucking right. 3 points a pop.
Nice.
You done with that, right?
It's got to
Yeah,
be a pain relief thing, yes?
It was, yeah. It's supposed to relieve cramping and I don't know, whatever the fuck happens down there.
Awesome. And bravo. Get them shits up there, son. I mean,
No
man.
doubts.
It's like college students taking shots of alcohol in their butt.
Nice
Yeah.
job tonight, gents. John, Mark, and Lyle did tie at 6 points a pop. Ron, you had 4 points. I like these little rules. I think it makes it a little more
Oh,
fun.
boy. I got the,
Penalty.
even with the
Yeah, but
weed treat, and I lost my Kanye.
Weed treat fucked you.
Yeah.
And you lost. You got Kanye.
Well, if I was playing for somebody else, I might not have chose Kanye, but
Yeah, that's fair.
now I don't know what to do in the future because we're at that Magic 3 number where
No, it
it's
should be
time
one, right?
for a correct
Should be
Kanye,
one.
but you know this. And you know that I know this. And I know that you know that, and I know that you... It is exactly... You're only stalling. All right, well, let's get out of here. Ron at boronfilms.com, thespacepod.yuka.com. I don't think I got anything to say.
Facebook.
Facebook, yeah. Find us on Facebook. I know a lot of you don't find us on Facebook, and you still do. We still get, I check it all the time, we still get more views on the spacepod.yuku.com than we do on Facebook. And I find that
But
interesting
nobody
because nobody posts.
Posts anything.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad that we brought this up because Mr. Snugglepants posts, and he sent me a voicemail, and it was fucking hilarious.
Oh, yes.
And my fat, stupid, clumsy, fat fucking thumbs must have hit delete or something.
No!
I cannot find it anywhere, and I feel awful about it. So, Mr. Snugglepants, all you have to do, you send it through your email, just go in your sent folder. I'm sure it's still in there. Forward it to us, and if we do, we may do a video cast this week. Might be funny to play that when you can see all our stupid faces reacting to it anyway, but I really hope that you can retrieve that and send it. I'm sorry, I don't know. I looked everywhere. I seriously looked for an hour before the show because I somehow deleted it, but then it was in the trash, and so I got out of trash and sent it to the inbox, and it just fucking appeared. I blame my fat thumbs. Seriously, if I held my thumb up to my head, my thumb is bigger. No lie, no exaggeration. But maybe we will do a video cast this week, and please, Mr. Snugglepants, send that voicemail, because I didn't play it for anybody. I texted you guys a few days ago saying we got a great voicemail, and I can't wait to play it for you.
Sure, yeah.
And I deleted it. What are you going to do? All right, let's get on out of here. See you guys.
See you next week, guys.
May the road rise.
I always called it looking outside my own box.